Hey guys, it's Kay from J&Kay. Today I'm going to be talking with you about identity again, but today we're going to be talking about specifics and having specific terminology for our goals and how we think about our identity. So it's very important to have specific goals. If you have a plan and you're not specific about your goals, it's going to be very difficult for you to know if you've accomplished them or not. So here's an example. You might phrase your goal this way. I'm going to go and come back and then we'll start. It kind of sounds like you're in the middle of a conversation with someone and they already understand the context. And we do that with ourselves too, the way that we think. Sometimes we just assume all of these things for ourselves. But words have power. Even just psychologically, our words have power. And if we say this way instead, I'm going to go out to California for the art program, return to New York after I complete the program, and then we will start our online graphic design business. Those details that you tell the other person or also tell yourself have a lot more power, a lot more oomph, a lot more even visual recognition. Your mind is picturing California, the art program, and that helps you to manifest those goals. Imagining it happening will make you feel actually more comfortable as you walk out that plan. There have been studies on this, the more you visualize your plan, visualize yourself doing it, the less it feels like a new thing you've never done before. And then, so you have more confidence as you actually walk it out. So I'll give you those two examples again. The first is, I'm going to go and come back and then we'll start. The second is, I'm going to go out to California for the art program, return to New York after I complete the program, and then we'll start our online graphic design business. So even when you talk about when I complete the program, you're not just saying, then I'm going to return to New York. You're going to say, I'm going to return to New York when I complete the program. The goal and the plan is to complete this. So you're stating to yourself over and over again, I am a finisher. I know what my goals are. I have a concrete plan with concrete results. I'm going to be able to gauge where I am in accomplishing those results. For instance, did I graduate from the program? Did I return from New York yet? So you have real key indicators of where you are in the goal process, in achieving that goal. And then this also applies to our identity. So yesterday, Jay gave a video about your true identity versus your counterfeit identity and how we have a lot of self-talk about both of those. And sometimes they're conflicting and sometimes we don't realize that they're conflicting, and it's important to actually dissect both kind of streams of consciousness that are playing in our subconscious mind and figure out what we're really saying to ourselves about ourselves. So here's an example based on our identity and our goals and success related to our identity. So you might say, I'm only human, nobody's perfect. So you're kind of giving yourself grace so you don't feel guilt or shame or down, and maybe you're trying to help yourself get back up again by saying, nobody's perfect, I'm gonna try again. But realize that when you're saying that, I'm only human, maybe I'm not that powerful, maybe I'm not that good at this. Nobody's perfect, maybe I'll never get there. So we want to be careful what kinds of terminology we're using to give ourselves grace. Instead, you could say something like this. I might not have succeeded in this area in the past, but I'm stronger and wiser now. I know who I am now, and my goals are clearer. I've adjusted things, I've tweaked. We've talked about tweaking and iterating in the past. And I do believe that I can and will have success in this area. That's a lot more concrete. Again, our two examples, I'm only human, nobody's perfect. You're giving yourself grace, but also I might not have succeeded in the past, but I know I can succeed in the future, and I've taken action steps to help myself believe that that is actually truly possible, and I really do stand by that. Those are very different mindsets. They both have the goal of helping you get back up and not feel defeated or down about yourself, but with a very different terminology. So evaluate the words that you're using, evaluate the self-talk that's running in the background of your mind all the time. Journal it out and figure it out. Jay showed you an example of Dynalist yesterday. That's a great tool for that. Another thing you can do as you're journaling is as you make a plan for your goals, as you make more concrete, maybe track the results that you're looking for, also establish some checkpoints for yourself. So, for example, maybe your ultimate goal is to have a full-time business, your own full-time business, and be your own boss. So you might want to make some achievable goals along that path. For instance, making your first sale. Then maybe the next step is maintaining 10 steady clients. And then the next step, moving your other job that's contributing to your income to just part-time status. Maybe you were full-time at that and your own business was part-time. Maybe now your other job will be part-time. And then the last step would be quitting all the other sources of income because you're now able to sustain yourself fully on your business. So these are checkpoints that you can use instead of feeling, oh, I'm never gonna get to that end goal. I'm never gonna get to that result. Make small little steps that you can achieve on your way to that big goal. And make those very concrete, very actionable, very specific, so you know what you're aiming for. What's my next goal? Just to make that first sale. Don't worry about having a full-time income, just make that first sale. If you can make that first sale, okay, now I'm gonna make 10 sales. I'm gonna get 10 clients. I want them to be repeat clients. How am I gonna do that? So the more you can break it down, and get more and more specific, the more you're gonna be able to take those action steps. It's gonna be clear what your next step is. You're gonna get rid of a lot of the gray areas. Now let's focus even more on identity and a little bit less on goals. So you can also use affirmations of who you are. Jay and I have both used affirmations in our life a lot just to remind ourselves, who am I? Who really is Kay? Sometimes life or other people or even ourselves, we can talk ourselves down, other people can talk us down. Even just situations that we go through can kind of seem to prove to us that we're not who we really believe we are. Maybe you think you're a great singer, but you mess up at your next recital. Just because you make a mistake doesn't mean you're not a great singer. The best singers in the world make mistakes all the time, but sometimes those life situations can kind of become twisted and start affecting who we believe ourselves to be. And then maybe we have some self-doubt and then our next performance doesn't go as well. It can kind of psych you out. So you've got to overcome that by knowing who you are no matter what happens. So affirmations are a great way to do that. You've already established who you are, you know it's true, you remind yourself of that, and you're living it out day to day. And even if you don't see the manifestation of that yet, or maybe you see contrary evidence about who you are based on your life experience. For instance, maybe you are, at the moment, you are not living the healthiest diet in the world, but you know you want to be a healthy person, therefore you are a healthy person. You desire that, so that's who you are meant to be. That is your fullest potential. So maybe you have a piece of cake. Oh, I'm a failure. No, you're not a failure. You are a healthy person, you made a bad decision. What can you do to overcome that decision? So that's kind of going back into the goals again, but that's an example. Some affirmations, as an example, some affirmations would be, I have the ability to choose what goes into my body as fuel. I take the right steps day by day to fuel my body efficiently. Something like that. If you remember, yeah, that's who I am. Why would I put this piece of cake into my body? I'm gonna eat something else that's more healthy, that actually gives me some nutrients, some protein, something that will help me to fuel my body rather than just satisfy me for the moment. So the more you think about those affirmations, the more they will actually manifest in your life. Now, we've talked a lot about mission statements in our last few videos, and mission statements are kind of an ultimate affirmation about your life. It took me and Jay like at least 3 iterations, also talking with our mentor about our mission statements before we came up with the mission statements that we currently have. And it probably took like a whole session of our life coaching class. So it's something you really want to devote a lot of time to. You don't want to just kind of jot out a mission statement in 2 seconds and think it's done. You really want to meditate on it and reflect. We kind of, we went through our turning points in our life, as we've made some videos about. our past and themes that have come up in our past. We went over our turning points, and we also went over parts of our personality, parts of our core values. And those are all things that you can think through as you create your own mission statement. Things that you want to have reflected in the overall affirmation of who you are and what your purpose in life is. So I just want to go over my mission statement again, and also the J&K mission statement, so you can kind of see how having a mission statement can really be an affirmation of who you are. So my mission statement is, I exist to see the best in others revealed by communicating truth and nurturing growth. So we'll just stop there for a minute because there's more. But I love seeing the potential in other people, even if they don't know their own potential yet. To seeing that they have potential. Sometimes people don't even know that they have potential, and that's something that just brings me joy and makes me feel alive. And I love communicating the truths that I've learned in order to help other people grow. That's just something that also makes me feel alive. That's why I'm doing these videos. Then the next sentence is, I analyze patterns and see the big picture to develop life systems that influence others for good. Now, I'm very, very pattern oriented. I remember patterns very well. It's just something that I've always been gifted in. And I'm super analytical. So me and Jay and I have been able to use that in our life to kind of develop our life system. What kind of patterns do we see in our life every day? How can we clump different parts of our day and become more effective? And that's just one example. But that is one way that I can analyze patterns to develop our life system. And I can do that in a lot of other areas. I've done that with our business as well. And I'm able to see kind of the big picture perspective of where we're going, where we want to go. And I do that in order to influence others for good. I always want to bring other people up to help to make the world a better place. And that's really important to me. And I really wanted that to be in my mission statement. So those are very specific things that came out of very specific aspects of my life. Let's talk about the J&K mission statement. J&K are vloggers who daily live out their best life, level up regularly, and share their experiences and stories with their followers so that they can learn from them. So this is an affirmation because even though we don't necessarily see this being lived out fully yet, we kind of, it feels right. We feel the peace about, yes, this is who we are, whether we see this or not. We are trying to live out our best life daily and to level up regularly, to get better incrementally, 1%, 4% in all areas every day. And we are sharing our stories with people so that they can learn from them. We don't always succeed in all of those areas, but having this to tell us who we are and remind us who we are is a real important tool that we can use to remind ourselves who we are. So these affirmations and mission statements are there to remind you who you are, even when life experiences may seem to be to the contrary. So some examples of affirmations, not mission statement related, but just a few statements. An affirmation can be just a statement like, I am a finisher. I finish what I start. I only work in peace. That's one of our affirmations. I only work in peace. Sometimes we feel like, why can't I get this done? Well, you're not feeling peace. Take time for yourself. Take time to journal. It's not wrong to do that. It's not wrong to take a break because I only work in peace. I can only be productive when I feel at peace, and I can be my most productive when I feel peace. So just that one phrase, I only work in peace, I can just say that when Jay or myself, when we're feeling frustrated, I can just say that and instantly we know what that means. Oh, we're not being true to ourselves. We got to remember, I only work in peace. Also another one, my family is important to me. It can be that simple. Just an affirmation. Why am I putting my family over my career? Well, my family is important to me. Or my family is most important in my life. Something like that. Those are affirmations. I'm sure you can find lots of lists of affirmations and blogs that help you to write your own affirmations online. The last thing I want to talk about is spotting your counterfeit identity, and Jay talked about this in his video. Identify areas specifically where you might be cutting yourself down, where you maybe feel like you're failing over and over again. So those are kind of two different things. Number one, what terms are you repeating to yourself over and over where you're telling yourself that you're not good enough or you're never going to get better or something like that? You can journal it out just like Jay did. You can even journal out like he did, like your worst fear, your worst nightmare. Jordan Peterson talks about this. What is your worst possible day? What is your nightmare? What is your hell on earth? What is that thing? And when you write it out and you actually like verbalize it, it kind of like reduces it of power for two reasons. Number one, you realize that's never gonna happen. So why am I afraid? And number two, you can now identify when you have any of that terminology. One thing that Jay brought up was panic attacks. Whenever he's like, oh, it's a panic attack. Wait, I remember that term. That's in my false identity terms. That is not who I am. It's easier to reject it when you can, again, recognize the patterns, do some analyzing, and figure out, oh, that's what I'm doing, and I don't want to be doing that. Remember that there are two sides to every story. So when you feel like there's an area that you keep failing in over and over again, don't just tell yourself, I keep failing in this over and over again. What about, are you getting up every time? Are you learning from it every time? Try to focus on the positive, focus on the growth in yourself. So not only can you spot that counterfeit identity of, I'm never gonna be a success in this area, you can spot it, but you can also then turn it around and realize every time I fail in this area, I figure out a way to do it better. I figure out a way to fix it a little bit more, and maybe I fail again, but then I figure out why I'm failing again, and I tweak it, and I get better. And I keep trying. That's the biggest part of the battle. So one tool I want to leave you guys with is Jay and I do EFT tapping on YouTube. Brad Yates has a great YouTube channel where he puts up his EFT tapping videos. If you don't know what that is, it's kind of you just kind of like tap certain spots on your body, and it's almost like acupuncture, but not really, and not at all really, but kind of that concept of different pressure points on your face specifically, and a couple parts of your body. And as you do that, you talk about what you're feeling, like the negative things that you're feeling, but then you release those and you remind yourself of the positive things and about your identity. So I'm gonna have a link in the description specifically for the anxiety video. That's been very helpful for me, and it's a great example of a tapping video that kind of starts out saying like, yes, I admit that I'm anxious, I feel anxious. And then you say, but I'm letting that go. And it's more detailed. It gets very much into the specifics, which is what this whole video is about. You wanna get into the specifics and then talk about the positives. Talk about, yes, maybe that anxiety was there to help me at the moment, but I don't need that anymore because now I remember who I am. So I hope you guys will check out that video, but also take some time to figure out who you are. Do some journaling, make your own mission statement, write some affirmations, get specific about who you are and what makes you you. What makes you, what do you have to contribute to the world? And what makes you tick, what will help you to achieve your goals. Figure out those things, write them down, and remind yourself of them on a regular basis. All right, thanks guys, bye.